Mm.
So I think it's a push by State Street. I'm also a member of the union there. Just to reiterate what was already mentioned, our complex has been under a lot more, our receivership has lasted for going on perhaps about 8 months or so. We've been going from receiver to receiver. We've put through complaints, through the typical online portals, calls, emails, everything to both our receivers and even the owners of our building. But we still haven't gotten any of our issues resolved for the most part. And now we're really looking for, we just want to get somebody to the table in good faith. We want to sit down, hash out new leases, and really just talk to a good decision maker in the farm because they have decision making power to speak to us, to negotiate leases, and to really actually, come to the table and change things in a way where everybody wins. So that's really all we're looking for. We just want to talk to an actual decision maker who can make sure that our issues are addressed, that we're paying a fair rent, and that we're on the street. That's basically what we're looking for.
Unfortunately, I am closer to the front door of the building and has run up security a couple of different times. I think that one of the biggest deals for me is having to worry about opening my front door and seeing something that doesn't look the building inside, beyond security measures installed. So I think safety is something these guys need to address. It's not something that they take very seriously, and unfortunately, we have to deal with that situation on a couple of occasions that ended, police being involved, and it's something we don't want to have to do. So we're just looking, for them to be a little bit more clear inside what goes on. All right, President of Connecticut.
I will be brief, and I also know that there's construction going on. I think it's a really simple concept for us at the tenant union, which is that if you agree to sit down and negotiate with the union over a collectively bargained lease, we take that agreement in good faith, and we hope that you keep your word. And so part of what's really disappointing is earlier this year we had the word of foreign leadership that we were going to sit down and negotiate this lease. Unfortunately, that has not been the case, and we're going to continue to escalate until we get back to the table and get a contract that benefits everybody. And I want to be really clear that LCI, Liverpool Cities Initiative, has been involved in this building what's going on in this building. And we want to be really clear. If you make a promise with the union to negotiate, we expect you to hold that promise. So we'll be here handing out pamphlets about what you can expect from Farnham management, and if we can get to an agreement and get back to the table, we will go away. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. So I guess I asked Chris this earlier, but I guess what are some of the specific kind of complaints you have in the building? How have things changed since the summer, and like what still remains an issue?
So some things have been repaired, but the only things that Farnham has fixed for us are things that have open LCI reports. So if people have gone through the process of filing with the city, then and they have to fix it within a certain amount of time legally, then Farnham is making sure to take care of those. But everything else that people have put in repair requests for, they tell us to use the portal, and like they'll close those requests without addressing them.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and then the security in the building has gotten worse. I don't know if that's like a larger thing across our neighborhood overall, but at least for our building, we've had more like intrusions into the building from people who aren't residents. And we've even had people sleep in our vestibule, which didn't happen before. And we've asked for some pretty simple security measures of like a code for the front door, and they just want to inconvenience us and lock us out of our own building. The other thing too is I know across Connecticut one of the issues has been increase in electric rates, especially with like UI, and so we have UI in our building, and I believe like on average it's about 17% increase. Residents of our building saw 4 times their bill increase, as well as like we live in a 2-bedroom apartment, and like in February we had paid over $650 in electric for our apartment. So just the electric costs in the building make no sense, and it's never adequately heated. Like residents are never warm. The split units that we have are running all the time. So the rooms never warm up. Our energy is being just used off the charts, and yeah, we've asked them to look into this and address it, and they just were like, rates are going up everywhere in Connecticut. I'm so sorry.
Also, one consistent theme that we've seen over and over again is when tenants come in and when they sign leases, no matter whether it's with the original owners or with the current receivers, they're offered and promised certain things and they just don't come to fruition. And over time, all we've seen is our conditions deteriorate, whether it's mold, whether it's lack of proper heating, whether it's sort of manifold, just a number of issues that we've been complaining about over the years. When we first came to our apartment, there was security at our apartment complex. Now we live in an area where there's recently several stabbings, shootings, a hit and run that involved an actual death, and we used to have security, and now it's been taken away. Yet our rent has gone up since that time. Multi-hundreds of dollars across many different units. And even some of the newer tenants that have come in, they've initially been promised certain things right from the outset, and then immediately, they're not taken care of. I mean, we've had 2 separate people that have come in over the past couple months that have asked for some basic things like privacy shades or fixes to their windows, and they've just been completely ignored. Yet all of our rent has gone up, and we just have to talk to somebody to be able to address these issues and bring them to the table. And we want somebody responsible for this that are prepared with what's going on.
When you talk to Farnham about negotiating, are they ignoring you?
Initially, they were open, and we sat down with Max Young, who was assigned as our super for the building. And the first meeting we had, he heard out our sort of negotiation document, and he said, "Okay, I'll bring it back to Carol, the owner of Farnham," and then she sent him back to negotiate with us, agreed to a few things on the document, but mostly just said, like, we'll have to see. And then Carol refuses to meet with us, and Max has now said he won't talk to us. So he will only show up for, like, an emergency issue. Don't contact him unless there's an emergency. We also have no one to contact if there's an emergency on the weekends or in the evening. I was told by Max, the super, that if we get locked out of the building at night, to put it in the portal. And if you're out, and I was like, okay, so if you don't have your phone and your computer, like, what then? And he's like, well, that wouldn't happen. Yeah. Another thing is we discovered mold in the building since our last action. It was in the basement, and they just cut it out. They didn't do mold testing. They didn't remediate for mold, which, like, makes me concerned because they're not just renting apartments, they're a realty company. So if they're doing this with an apartment that they're renting out, like, what does that imply about the buildings they're selling? But also, if they're only doing this to rental apartments, what does that mean about how they think of renters versus owners? And, like, I have someone who lives right next door to this. Nobody was informed when they cut this out of the building. And they didn't do any testing.
Any other questions?
What was your last attempt to contact? Or I guess, yeah.
We're constantly asking them to meet. Basically, like, if Max contacts me, I will reply back to him and say, like, hey, just come to the building. We're open. Maya, who's not here today, she's contacted him on behalf of the union too, and he just stopped contacting her. And then he said to me, well, can I speak to anybody else in the union? And I said, sure, feel free to talk to anyone who's been negotiating with you. And I believe people have been contacting you, and you stopped talking to them.
We also came to stop by Carol's office recently, and were told that she was in a meeting and she would get back to us, and we haven't heard anything back.
When was that?
I would say it was early November, maybe late October.
Yeah.
Probably. I sent you.
Any further questions? So what we're going to do is we're going to stand outside the Farnham office, and we're going to hand out pamphlets about our experience to passerbys and educate folks in the city about what they can expect from this management company. And we will be back if we need to. We'll also deliver some inside. All right, what do we want? A contract. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? A contract. When do we want it? Now. What do we want? A contract. When do we want it? Now. If we don't get it, if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
If we don't get it, shut it down. If we don't get it, shut it down. All right, you want to pass those pamphlets?
Anyone? Just happen to have one on me? Okay.
Yeah. She's got the receivership paperwork. Yeah, I was just. That's okay.
Well, we don't know. They just took it out without really addressing what it is. They just put it right out. That's not how it works. The basis.
So this live stream.
period to get a good community.
And they cut it out there. They cut out the black one. They just cut it out.
Yeah,
That's fine, right?
that's fine. But guess what? You never got rid of it like that. They got to treat the area.
I'm sure they didn't release spores or anything while they were doing it. They had proper coverings and containment. I'm sure.
Hold on, you know the cover for black hole? Secure?
Yeah, I know.
Oh.
I know. I know all of it. We had it too. That's how we started. Was the mold like it was like
When you secure
it was like
the
a
area,
blanket
you
on the
take off-
walls
you
in the
take off black
basement.
mold. You screen it off like you're dealing with asbestos.
Yeah, literally.
You cover
And
it
I've done
asbestos and
asbestos
everything.
removal. I know what you do.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So
All right, let's get that chanting going again. What do we want?
Contract.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Contract.
When do we want it?
Now.
And if we don't get it, if we don't get it,
shut it down.
what do we want?
Contract
When do we want it?
now.
What do we want?
Contract
When do we want it?
now.
And if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
when tenants' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When tenants' rights are under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the working class is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
When the working class is under attack, what do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
What do we do?
Stand up, fight back.
Whose town?
Our town.
Whose town?
Our town.
Whose power?
Our power.
Whose power?
Our power.
What kind of power?
Ten-
What kind of power? Those both tenant power and union power either answers
Yeah, I think we should just go with like whoever answers what. Just go with that loud and proud.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down. Shut it down.
what kind of power?
Union power.
What kind of power?
Union power.
Get up.
Get down. New Haven is a union town.
Get up. Get down. New Haven is a union town.
Get down.
New Haven is a union town. Get up. Get down. New Haven is a union town. Get up.
Get down. New Haven is a union town. Get up.
What do we want?
Contract.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Contract.
When do we want it?
Now.
If we don't get it.
Shut it down.
If we don't get it.
Shut it down.
Does anyone want to read from the pamphlet?
Wherever feels right. I would do that.
Okay, so our rental package with Farnham Realty, our new owners or our new receivers, a luxury package. Our apartment complex is a luxury complex, apparently. What comes with a luxury package? Well, they'll make sure you overpay for the conditions of your apartment. They'll ignore the things that need fixing, any major security concerns. They'll also take away all the conveniences that you're accustomed to and refuse to negotiate any kind of rent increase. A classy package, what they may say. They provide the finest in leaks, mold, warped floors, and unlocked doors. Do you enjoy waking up to homeless people in your vestibule? We'll make sure to leave that unaddressed for you. We'll also close repair tickets in our portal rather than speaking to residents about repairs and compromises. It's a simple package as well, though. Don't worry. We won't address your needs or concerns In fact, we'll promise to meet with you about any needs or concerns, and then refuse to continue speaking to you. And if we don't like what you ask for, that's a Farnham promise. We won't act. So, that's what you get as part of the Farnham Realty package. Our service, we will take over your building after your previous landlords failed to upkeep and maintain it. We'll then assign you a super with no experience whatsoever, who will gaslight you. Bespoke. Finally, we will refuse to negotiate with unionized tenants for a new lease, while issuing new leases for new tenants. We keep our focus on evictions, not relationships. So we can make your dream come true. Do you want to pay an average of $2,000 a month in rent and be ignored? Come to Farnham. If you like somebody who would sooner run your building into the ground than spend the money that you give them on maintaining it, call Carol Horsford at Farnham Realty. Now.
We should do that like in a quiet place, so we could put it like I'll upload all these wherever you want or send them to you guys too. Yeah, I'm trying a new streaming platform because it'll go a different place, like anywhere I want. Plus, it keeps the video, so you don't have to like screen capture it or like stuff.
That would be nice.
Watch out for farm management.
Like we started a Facebook page for Hamden Tenant Union, and just like I just invited everybody I knew, and now it's got like a few thousand people on it, and they're all like in organizing basically.
Really?
I mean, a lot of Hamden people, but there's a lot of organizing people all over Connecticut, legislators, all kinds of stuff. So I try to use it for all of us.
Makes sense. The more footage we can get, I mean, the better. Especially when it's not like TV footage. It's just like right on the spot.
Yeah.
Everybody, I like that.
Yeah, it's been like 5 or 6 people watching this, popping in and out.
Yeah.
So
nice. So it's actually live.
Yeah. Oh yeah. I live stream it always.
I hope they like it.
Yeah, I want to set it up so we can do it on the CTT website too, so that we can do all our actions up there.
That would be cool.
Because we get coverage, we get like little 10-second clips and stuff. Like we did our whole like city council meeting last night, which they tried to filibuster us, which is bizarre. The council did filibuster.
They tried to filibuster you?
We were there for 5 hours. We were there till midnight, and they finally tabled it because they refused to vote on the issue because they knew we were going to yell at them.
They know they're that stubborn about it.
Yeah, it's so transparent, but they don't. They think they're slick.
Yeah, it does feel like the more that we, even on a small scale over here, on a larger scale up in Hartford, the more we try to, get them to the table, try to ask for a meeting, ask for some kind of comment. They just kind of say, "Oh, we'll table that," or for next time. But then the more we do it, they just kind of shut down.
They keep waiting for the time you're not going to show up.
You're not going to do it.
They're trying to see that one time you didn't know about the meeting, or everybody skipped it, or had something to do.
Yeah, because they seem to have a special ability to forget.
Well, that's always worked.
Yeah.
This has always worked for them before.
Yeah.
Suddenly, it's not because people are tired. People are starting to see like we got to get together and do something.
Yeah, this is ridiculous.
It's
I think it's the and it's funny because it's the ignoring us part that actually makes people really angry. It's not even so much the original issue anymore. Now it's just like, okay, you're ducking us. Why?
They're organizing for us.
Yeah, they really are.
They just piss off more and more people. You know what?
Yeah.
What the thing we're working on now in South Hamden with actually it's homeowners, but it's an issue that the town created because all their houses are sinking into the ground because of like poor remediation before the houses were built, and they organize. They have their. This may be the first homeowners union.
Oh, that would be interesting.
That's fighting the city.
Wow.
Because they realize, and we've talked about it. Like homeowners are tenants too, because in one way we only have one landlord. They have the city, the state, the federal government, the insurance company, and the bank. They have 5 landlords who will all take their housing if they don't do the right thing.
That's an interesting one because then
it's a fallacy that you're in your home mostly.
If you can get homeowners, and I feel like a lot of people, most homeowners used to rent at some point, so they know these issues.
Yeah.
If they could be on the same side, I'm sure they would. I mean, when I've told most people I know who own homes, they think that this makes perfect sense. They're not against any of this at all.
No. Listen, in Hamden, what the current administration has done is united the town, the Republicans and the Democrats, it was like half and half in that hall last night,
Yeah.
all fighting them
Yeah.
to spend government money to fix these houses.
Wow.
Like it was something I didn't think I'd ever see. But you know what? We're not as far apart as we think.
No, and this
You know what? On a lot of stuff.
Yeah.
On a lot of
True,
stuff.
truthfully,
And you know,
on a
my
lot of stuff.
attitude is we come together and we work on the stuff we agree on.
Yeah.
And by the time we get to the stuff we don't, either we'll have a good enough relationship, we'll figure it out, or
Yeah.
maybe one of us, like one side or the other, will realize that like where we're coming from.
Yeah. And
Either way, we can work it out because they're all against us.
No, and the dumbest thing about it too is, you're talking about workers' rights, or you're talking about a certain class of people's rights, or you're talking about renters' rights. This is a godsend the way this is set up. Why? Because we've got one very, very, very small group of people who are holding it over us.
Yeah.
That's a gift from a marketing perspective, because a small amount of people, basically taking from us, and yet everybody needs housing. This is an inflexible, inelastic good. It's like healthcare on par with that. Everybody needs it. And where's all this money going? Where is it going?
And if you don't have a house, you're probably not getting one right now. Not a regular person.
Nope.
Not us who are working 1, 2, 3 jobs.
Yeah.
Like just barely getting by. Like you're not buying a house now.
Yeah. No, definitely not.
So everybody's renting. And if you're not, your kids are going to rent someday. I mean,
Yeah. And it's just a cycle.
My kids are all adults. They all still live at their mom's house in Oxford because none of them want to have 6 roommates. And I don't blame them.
Yeah. And just the horrible conditions.
Yeah. And horrible conditions. Always.
So this should be, in theory, an easy win, in the sense that if we just keep on going, if everybody keeps on going.
Yes. It's all about just persistence.
Yeah.
Like that meeting, like they just think we're going to go away and we don't. And they don't understand.
And when you got through the 5 hours and they eventually tabled it, is that what you said?
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, they wouldn't bring it to a vote. But that's still a win.
That's still a win.
Because they didn't vote no.
Yeah.
And they didn't, they're going to have to face us again at the next meeting.
Did they not even address anything?
They talked about it for hours.
Oh, they did, okay.
But then they just talked in circles. They literally filibustered us. They brought in people at the end of the meeting on the Zoom, and they were, just talking heads. Oh, I used to live here. Like they weren't even people who lived there or part of government anymore. They're like, oh, I'm an advisor, and we're like, we've never seen you. We know everybody in the.
Oh man. Well, that's always interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know where to start with that. It seems typical.
Well, me and my friends ended up deciding we're just gonna stay on campus. I kind of have issues with students, so living on campus would be nice. So yeah, we're just gonna stay. Definitely will not be living in a
No, it's weird.
it's like around campus. It's tremendous down.
I guess it's not much. Okay, 1455 State Street.
I think they're buzzing in.
Probably the worst of the worst. Yeah.
So are they.
And we just did an action protesting them, and now they're not letting us in the building again.
Oh, come on.
If you go up and knock, they may let you in. If you go-
I'm not into that. What are y'all?
Let her in. We'll stay out.
It's Dickens. Dickens, I need to pay my rent.
They'll open the door here now.
Thank you. Come on.
Would the other tenants also be able to come in?
No comment. Can we come in? We're tenants.
No comment.
No.
It's like something you say when you get caught with a nanny. Nah. Like it's a real. No comments.
All right, guys. What do we want?
Contract.
What do we want?
Now.
When do we want it?
Now.
What do we want?
Contract.
When do we want it?
Now.
If we don't get it,
Shut it down.
if we don't get it,
Shut it down.
we'll be back.
We'll be back.
We'll be back.
We'll be back. We'll be back.
We'll be
back. We'll be back.
All right. Okay, guys.